Well, I mean, it seems obvious to me that when you've got a school system that's paid for by taxpayers, that school system shouldn't set out to put any religious ideology onto young people. And that's a very, and that might seem like a very simple thing to say, but the reality is that that's a very, very long way from what we actually have right now. That actually right now, loads and loads of schools across Scotland, across the whole of the UK, have an enormously heavy religious agenda. Teachers are selected on the basis of religion, and those that don't fit the school's ideology are then told, you have to say this, you have to adhere to this. And certainly we hear a lot of worrying stories about schools that are teaching things like creationism, and I'm always left wondering, not that I want young people taught about, I'm always left wondering, those schools that teach creationism, what does the sex education curriculum look like? And I've got a feeling it looks like, and certainly from the work I do with Abortion Rights UK, we get a lot of quite shocking feedback about things that young people are being told about their bodies, and, you know, just outright misinformation about, oh, abortion's terribly dangerous and it's going to lead to infertility and blah, 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 and all this absolute nonsense. So that has to come out. And I also think a big chunk of school time, certainly when I went to school, I went to school in England, to a Church of England school, and a lot of time got eaten up with singing hymns and doing this, and I'm absolutely not against teaching a bit of cultural history. But we should be clear that there's a difference between saying this is the tradition of the past and this is what the architecture looks like, and telling young people that they should subscribe to this or that there's some advantage to doing so. Well, I mean, obviously no, I don't think that's the right thing to be doing in schools. It seems obvious to me that, you know, this sort of thing, parents have got all day Saturday and all day Sunday to do whatever it is that they want to do with their children, to drag them round to church or synagogue or whatever they want to do. Couldn't we just agree that the Monday to Friday, the school hours, are about education? And I think that putting religious observance into schools is incredibly misleading, because what we tell our children when they come to school is, this stuff is true. You can believe this stuff. Don't believe what you see on television. Don't believe that, you know, things without questioning them. But this is school, and what we tell you at school, it's about evidence and it's about truth. And so one minute we're saying, you know, this is how science works, this is how chemicals can be used, and this is how the physical universe works. And then the next minute we turn around and go, this is what angels do. And that's enormously confusing for young people. It's like, you shouldn't have children going to school and being told, now remember, Santa will come on Christmas Eve. Your parents can tell you that if they want to in their, you know, in their free time, or your parents might be rationalists and decide not to tell you that stuff. That's up to them. But to go into school and have somebody telling you this kind of stuff, I think it's just misleading for children, because it implies that this is some sort of fact-based thing. And when they talk about religious observance and religious instruction, it's not about teaching what are the theories here. It's about teaching this as if it's true without questioning it. And we should teach young people to question everything. Of course we should. Well, I don't understand the whole, I mean, to me that's fundamentally anti-democratic. I mean, what we clearly should do is let people vote, and if they all want to vote for a Catholic representative, they can do, and if they all want to vote for a representative of some other religion, again, they can do. You know, if they were going to say we've got to be super balanced, then obviously what they should do then is survey the whole population and find out what the distribution of religion is, and they're sure going to find that a big chunk of the population up here is atheist, agnostic, rationalist, etc. So if they're really going to go down this road, then obviously they'd have to appoint 2 non-believing reps to each board as well, which I can't see that happening. And even then I wouldn't be happy, because then the trouble is, I find with these organisations, is that when you ask for a Catholic representative, they actually don't pick somebody who represents the Catholic faith. Actually, they don't pick somebody who is an average Catholic, who's like, well, I go to church a few times a year, but I'm still kind of pro-choice and I'm still kind of reasonable and I don't kind of go the whole hog. When you ask for a Catholic representative, you get somebody who thinks that every word the Pope says is fact and must never be questioned. And actually that's one of the problems with religion in a way, is that if we started a political party today, we would pick out of our number the person with average views to be our leader. But religious organisations don't do that. They pick the most religious person to be their leader. So the Pope doesn't in any way represent ordinary Catholics, and you know, Archbishop Welby doesn't represent ordinary Church of Englanders. In fact, ordinary Church of Englanders, most of them don't even believe in God, and but the leaders